Our reading this morning comes to us from an interview done with Tich Nhat Hahn entitled Meditation is for Everyone. In the course of that conversation, he said, "The present moment, in the beginning you might think that the present moment is not the past, is not the future. But as you continue to look deeply into the present moment, you see that the present moment contains the past, contains the future. And touching the present moment, you're touching the past, you're touching the future, and you can even heal the past and create the future while you dwell firmly in the present moment." The Buddha said that your appointment with life is in the present moment, and therefore everything you practice, whether it is mindful breathing, mindful walking, mindful doing things, you just go back to the present moment to be truly alive and to be able to take care of what is there, because life is available only in the present moment. We've been talking a lot this month about contemplation, the art of attention, and the cultivation of presence. I'd say we've been having a very introspective month, just about perfect for this time of year, I think. Last Sunday, Reverend Marcia talked about building practices of mindfulness and the challenge to be fully present to the here and the now. One of these practices can be meditation. While mindfulness refers to the quality of our awareness, meditation is an intentional practice meant to enhance that mindful awareness. I'd like to talk with you a bit about my relationship to meditation. My hope is that you may relate to some of it, that it may bring you a new idea, set you on your own path of exploration, or maybe you'll bring something to me that will send me further on my adventure of learning. When I was little, my aunt bought me a box set of what she called devotionals. They were little pamphlets with a daily passage of scripture from the Bible and a few contemplative questions. She told me I should take time to myself every day to sit and talk to God about what I read. I loved the ritual of taking this daily moment to think and question and ponder. I'd go into my room and have that time just for myself. And truly, it felt sacred. I did eventually disconnect from this particular practice as my ideas about God and spirituality changed. But I do appreciate that I had this kind of contemplative experience, because it is one form of meditation. Jack Kornfield, who is a Buddhist teacher and writer, has said, "It is possible to speak with our heart directly." Most ancient cultures know this. We can actually converse with our heart as if it were a good friend. In modern life, we become so busy with our daily affairs and thoughts that we have lost this essential art of taking time to converse with our heart. This is how I understand that time and that experience now. I don't think I was talking to God so much as to my own heart, and I'm grateful for the practice that this gave me. When I went to college, I began a yoga practice. I did this primarily in groups with other people, but I also bought a book with pictures and learned to do sun salutations and coordinate my movements to my breath. In yoga, I learned how I could cast my attention about in my body, how I could feel discomfort, lean into it a bit, learn to soften and release. Over time, I have enjoyed my changing relationship to different poses. My yoga experiences have taught me new ways that I can accept where I am, note the changes of my ever-changing body, and approach myself with love, patience, and care.
Again, I have so much gratitude for my yoga experience. I recognize that they come from ancient traditions and wisdoms that continue to benefit my mind, body, and spirit. My meditative practices expanded again when I went to graduate school to become a clinical social worker. This is where I was introduced to the work of Jack Kornfield, Tara Bach, Daniel Siegel, and others who sought to understand meditation's relationship to healing. Guided meditation, loving kindness meditation, breathing meditation are all powerful ways we can reduce stress, be able to choose our responses, regulate our nervous systems, and crucially, increase our compassion, both to ourselves and others. I teach and recommend some form of consistent meditative practice to every single young person I have the privilege to work with. One of my favorite practices that can be done daily is called the Wheel of Awareness. It was created by Dr. Daniel Siegel. And in this meditation, you imagine you're sitting on the hub of a wheel, and you can extend a spoke of your attention out to the rim of the wheel. You spend time sending that attention to what you can observe with your senses. You scan your body and notice the sensations of yourself. You then notice your thoughts without attachment. And you end with a loving kindness meditation that acknowledges our connections to ourselves, our communities, and ultimately the world at large. This is an easy one to find as a guided meditation if anyone would like to try it. Daniel Siegel talks about how this meditation can help integrate our experience of consciousness and also gain an awareness of our connections to other people, animals, and our environment. The practice helps dissolve the barriers we perceive between us and others, resulting in an increase in compassion, which can drive peaceful action. I will say, however, that every time I do recommend consistent meditative practice to one of the youth I serve, I also quickly look over my shoulder to make sure that the imposter patrol aren't on their way to put me on blast. Because here's the thing. Despite knowing all the benefits, meditation can be hard and uncomfortable and time-consuming. There have been times in my life when I've had a daily practice. I would come to work early, take 15 minutes of breathing meditation, or do a body scan at night before bed. But I have to be kind to myself about the fact that my practice has gotten more sporadic. Even though that's the case, I still have the benefit of everything I've done. It's okay. I'll take advantage of the reminders created by these services and get back to it with patience and self-compassion. I do think meditation is for everyone, and I want to honor that there are many, many ways to practice. Part of the journey is finding what brings you that gift of awareness. I have a dear friend who introduced me to the works of Ram Dass. I'm really just beginning to explore his teaching, but he wrote a book called Polishing the Mirror, in which he shares a story that I deeply love. In the story, Ram Dass is recounting a time when he was lecturing to a group. The group was full of mostly young people, similarly dressed, and he observed that there was one older lady who looked very proper and formal and overall stood out from the group. And as he is there lecturing and expounding on his experiences and thoughts on consciousness, he notices that throughout the talk, she's nodding in agreement with him. He says, I kept watching and getting more and more fascinated and getting more and more outrageous, talking about using psychedelics and experiences that involved other planes of consciousness. And she kept nodding and nodding. At the end of the lecture, she came up and said, thank you so much That makes perfect sense. That's just the way I understand the universe to be. And I said, how do you know? I mean, what have you done in your life that brought you into these kinds of experiences? She leaned forward very conspiratorially, and she said, I crochet. He goes on to say that it was then he realized that people arrive at spiritual understanding through a much wider spectrum of experience than he ever anticipated. I hope you enjoy our meditation today. I hope at coffee hour or beyond we share with each other what practices we have found or resources there are to teach. I hope we can all give ourselves the time to be mindful and present to where we are, right here, right now.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Joyce Tischler, the Worship Associate. For years, I believed that meditation was not for me. It felt like a black hole, completely unknown, foreign, and rather scary. I took a Kaiser course in mindfulness and stress reduction, and that brought meditation into focus. It was something I could manage and that could benefit me. Meditation is what you make of it. There are close to, I don't know, they estimate there are around 300 million people in the world who meditate. My goal is to quiet the mind, give it a chance to rest. Buddhists compare our minds to a troop of monkeys in a tree. They're chattering, they're jumping from branch to branch, they're fighting with each other, they're constantly in motion. It's our minds. That's our minds. When our body feels tired, we rest. But what about our mind? Our mind is constantly active. It's constantly active when we're awake and even when we're asleep. Wouldn't it be wonderful to give our mind permission to rest? Well, that's what meditation does for me. It gives my mind some time off, time to relax, time to repair. I find meditation to be both simple and difficult. Okay, oxymoron. It's simple because all I have to do is breathe. I don't have to buy any expensive equipment. I just need to sit and breathe. It's difficult because my mind, like everybody else's here, is like those little monkeys. And the thoughts come in and they're jumping through your head. What am I going to make for dinner? In the middle of meditation. Did I pay the water bill? When you notice those thoughts, gently bring your focus back to the breath, even if you have to do it very, very often. You're not failing, you're meditating. We're going to do a guided meditation. If this is your first time meditating, here's what's not going to happen. You are not going to float away. You will not have a life-changing mystical experience. If either of those two things happen, please take me with you. If the person next to you is snoring too loudly, please be gentle. Don't poke them in the ribs. So now, I'd like to ask each of us to find a sitting position that is comfortable for you. If your feet reach the floor, plant them firmly. Close your eyes if that feels good. Or you can just soften your gaze. We're going to start by taking 3 really deep breaths. In through your nose or mouth. Out. In. Out. And once more, in. Out. Now settle in to the natural rhythm of your breath. Don't try to control your breath. Simply observe it. Be aware of it. Notice where you feel it come in. Does your chest expand? Or does your belly expand? There's no right or wrong way to meditate. You simply focus on your breath. If it helps you focus, you can think to yourself, breathe in, breathe out. Notice the mind as it wanders. That's natural. Gently guide your focus back to the breath. We're going to close our meditation now. When you're ready, bring your attention back to the sanctuary. Stretch if it feels good. Gently open your eyes. Thank yourself for taking time to do something positive for your mind and body. And carry this sense of calm with you for the rest of your day.